take at a particular time, and your teachers will be able to tell you exactly when you're going to be testing and what you may need to prepare for that crucial 45-minute test. We do have a number of questions that came from parents at the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade parent meeting last night. And I also want to have an opportunity for us as a community to float questions at the end of the meeting, as we've done over the last several meetings. So I'm going to turn it over to Rohan right now. And at the end of the meeting, I'll come back, answer the questions that we've gotten so far. If you have additional questions, please put them in the Q&A box as you've done before, and then we will wrap up the meeting. So for now, I'll turn it over to Rohan.
I think Matt might be before me, but if not, I can go.
Go ahead, Rowan.
Okay. Not you, Dr. So I meant Matt Castellano, but okay. So 2 points of address quickly. First, the blood drive, a virtual blood drive, May 5th. So instead of a virtual blood drive, we're actually doing an in-person one, thanks to a Dobarton alum, Mr. John Faramosco. And so we're going to have May 5th at Hanover Marriott on Route 10 from 12 to 5 p.m. You can actually go in person and donate. And so we're going to put a link on Schoology and you can sign up there for an in-person blood drive. So that's much better than our virtual blood drive, which is great. And then second, I sent out the link to the tutoring site. You can go to like tinyurl.com/DobartonTutors, and it's up and running now. And we have all these tutors, like 30 tutors signed up for pretty much every subject, except Arabic, I think, but every subject. So I encourage all of you to book appointments because, like, contrary to popular belief, your grades still matter at home. And so just sign up for tutoring. All those seniors are willing to help, and we'd be happy to. And so now I'll introduce our speaker. Jack Kilty is class of 2016, and he was actually the soccer NJ Boys Player of the Year and the lacrosse Defenseman of the Year for NJ.com. And I actually remember when I was applying to Dobarton and my brother was a senior in 2016, I went to the Dobarton Soccer Invitational. I remember watching Jack play, and it's really a pleasure to have him here to speak to us. So thanks for that, Jack. And over to you.
Great. Thanks, Rohan. Appreciate the kind words. It's really awesome to talk to all you guys today. I can remember when I was at Dobarton just like it was yesterday. Time really does fly. I promise you that. So first and foremost, just wanted to wish you guys all the best. I hope everybody's doing okay from home, social distancing, following all the guidelines, whatever it may be. I wanted to give my biggest shout out to the seniors. I tell you right now firsthand, I know how it feels to have your senior year taken from you, as I did at Notre Dame this year. So I wanted to start by just saying, seniors, stay strong, give your support to the younger guys. I know it feels like something happened to you personally, but you got to remember, there's a huge situation at hand that, isn't just us. There's people in much worse situations than us having to, do school from home. So I just wanted to give you guys that word right off the bat. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been through the last couple of weeks. Some things that I've found work for me that have helped me be successful that I think are incredibly applicable to right now. And then I'll send it back to Father Michael. So first and foremost, I want to talk about controlling the controllables. So for all of us right now, we're all students. We're all working from home. The only things you can do are control what you can control. There's so many externalities right now, when things will be reopened, when you might be able to go back to school. If you're worrying about all of that, you're going to lose what you have to do today. So I'll talk a little bit about what I've been doing in my story. So I'm a senior at Notre Dame. I've been there since 2016 when I graduated Dobarton. Notre Dame's been probably as formative of a 4 years as I could ever have imagined. I came in as a young guy, incredibly ambitious, thinking that I knew it all. But you learn so much through 4 years of college, as you will find out soon, which is incredibly exciting for you guys. You should be really excited. and you're super thankful when it comes to your senior year. When you've looked back at the times you've had at school, you're incredibly thankful because you realize how much you've grown and changed. And I know that's cliche because, you say that after you graduate Del Barton, you're like, yeah, I'm changed for the better. Of course you are, but you have so much more to grow in those next 4 years. So with that, make sure you understand you have a lot to look forward to. Even though your senior years, your junior years, sophomore, freshman, they've been cut short. You've got so much to look forward to in the future. Um, so where I was when I learned that my senior season had been canceled, we had just lost my fifth game. So we had gone 2-0, then we had lost 3 games in a row my senior year. And if you know me, I'm an overly competitive person. I really struggle losing, and I've been very successful in my athletic career to, to some extent. So losing 3 in a row, Notre Dame's program hadn't lost 3 games in a row in 10 years, to put it in perspective. And this is my senior season. So obviously I was feeling pretty upset about how things have been going. And then so we lose the fifth game. I have one practice. We're on our second practice of the week preparing to play Michigan. And I could tell going into the practice that something was up because the Ivy League had just canceled the remainder of the season. We had not heard anything from the ACC, which is what Notre Dame's conference is. So I went into that practice, feeling a little odd, hoping, but kind of knowing in the back of my head, this might be it. Lo and behold, at the end of practice, they cancel the season. Later that week, they tell us we can't stay at school. We have to go home. So, feeling the emotions I'm sure all of you felt of, almost despair, just completely worn down, so sad. Everything I had ever worked for since I was a little kid of winning a national championship, out the door in just, the blink of an eye. And I think it speaks to that idea of, at any point in life, something can be taken from you. So you really got to treat each day like it could be your last. And that's, again, as cliche as that sounds, look at this situation, that's true. It really is. Every day could be your last at something. And, if you don't treat it that way, you're going to look back and you could have regrets. And I'm lucky enough that I've, thought that way for long enough that I don't have any regrets at Notre Dame, and I'm hopefully going to be able to play again next year. Thankfully, the NCAA is granting me an extra year of eligibility. But if I look at the 17 guys in my graduating class, 3 of us are going to have the opportunity to come back because of money. So if you think, yes, I have another chance, but a guy like one of my best friends, Stephen Chase, he didn't play a single minute of his college career. And this year he earned a starting spot in our 3rd game and was going to start the rest of the year, gets 2 games in and his career's over. So, you take everything in perspective and you got to understand, a lot of people lost things, and Steven not playing is not even comparable to people losing their lives, obviously. But, we're all in a really unique situation where, things have been taken from us, but we got to be grateful regardless. So with that being said, I think I'll talk a little bit about things that I've done that I think you guys should. I'm not telling you to do them. I think you should try them. And I think these are certainly things that I've done since I was at Del Barton. And some of the people who knew me there can attest that I'm not, blowing smoke at you. These are things that I honestly did that certainly helped me to be a little bit more successful. So I think the first is setting daily and weekly goals while you're at home. I physically write a list out of things I want to accomplish each day, and then things I want to accomplish each week. And they're tangible. They're things that are challenging, yet they're achievable. That's the key. You need achievable goals. They can't be, if you're like a weightlifter, it can't be put 10 pounds of muscle on in a week. That's just not achievable. They want to be tangible things you can do and that you can achieve each day. So for instance, the first 2 things on my list every single day that absolutely the guys listening to this can include are make my bed and don't snooze my alarm. Those are the two first things on my list every day. And there's a reason why. When you make what first thing, everybody knows that nobody wants to get up when they hear their alarm. But if you do that every single day, you start the day off winning. You've already achieved the goal. So that sets that positive mindset that you just want to keep on winning the rest of that day. Then, second thing, making your bed. You do that right after, you're already down two things that you've achieved in that day in 5 minutes. That sets up a positive environment for you to continue to have success. Now, those probably seem ridiculous that those are on my list. They probably don't make any sense. But I'm promising you, if you guys start working, you just start small like that, you're going to continue to win throughout the day and you'll eventually be more successful achieving the rest of your goals. Creating that positive routine is incredibly important. And then for me personally, I put physical goals and then mental goals. So for you guys, mental goals would probably be, outlining your assignments before that week even starts so that you can do your things on an orderly basis that you need to get done. As mentioned earlier, you guys still have school and you still have to get grades and they matter. An A at home is still an A if you were in the classroom. It doesn't change that way. So making sure you've outlined and done your work accordingly will ultimately breed better results and you'll have more success from it. And then physically, if you're a guy who likes to work out, or if that's one of your goals is staying fit, I think being physically fit helps with your mental ability to understand and process things. I think it can only help, if you go on runs, if you, work out. But, if that's not you, that's not you. That doesn't have to be a goal of yours during the day. But for me, I've set up, what I need to get done workout wise, and I set aside time during the day to do that. And then me right now in similar situations to, Rohan and Matt, I'm a leader of my community back at school. I have 53 teammates who depend on me as their captain to hold them accountable and to be a good teammate. So for me right now, I'm sitting at home, but I'm constantly reaching out to young guys as the upperclassmen in this chat should be doing, reach out to the younger guys, hold them accountable. Because in the end, if everybody holds themselves and each other accountable, the community, which is Del Barton, ultimately becomes a better community. And that's obviously an end goal that leaders in the community want. You want a better community. So, reaching out, holding each other accountable, going that extra step to be a good, classmate, teammate, peer, that carries a large weight. And then, making time for the things you love to do. So I leave time every day to FaceTime with my boys back at school. That means a lot to me. You got to have, as much as you want to get things done during the day, if you're not doing the things you love to do, then, what's the point, right? Like I said before, at any point something can be taken from you and you really want to have done the things that you really love to do every day. So like I've been learning how to play like my ukulele again. I haven't played the ukulele since my junior year of high school, but I figure this is a good time to, try and get back at what I once was pretty good at. So, doing all that, hanging out with your parents, it all means a lot. So I think if you guys try that routine, at the end of the day, you'll go to sleep feeling like you really accomplished something, and ultimately it'll make you better for the future. So with that, I'll give it back to Father Michael.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for sharing your perspective as a student, as an athlete, as an alumnus, and in particular, how you can not only help yourself, but help your teammates, and how we can also help one another get through the next several weeks. So thanks for making time for us today. I think next up is Dr. Durso.
Jack, thank you again. That message on perspective and gratitude, I'm sure that sounded very familiar to most everyone in our community, particularly our seniors. I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk to you a little bit about the impact of social distancing. While we know that it's been important for our physical health, ironically, it's not necessarily as good for our mental health. My conversations with students, some of whom are really feeling the effects of the isolation in the form of loneliness. And as people, we're hardwired for connection. It's incredibly important for us. And so this time is particularly difficult in that way. Last week, I talked about rather than waiting for motivation and the positive feelings to come, instead, do something or do one thing, right? In this way, if we're starting to feel lonely, if we're starting to feel disconnected, right, I'd encourage you to take up 1 or 2 tasks a day that forge that connection with other people in the ways that we can. So for example, can you be present at your family dinners every night? Can you teach somebody in your family a game or play a game with them? Right now in my house, I'm teaching my daughter how to play chess and my son's learning how to play poker. Can you join your mom and your dad in doing yard work, right? Getting outside, side by side, helping out, weeding, planting, cleaning up. Maybe you collaborate with your boys and you set up a Zoom lunch. Right? You guys take so much joy out of being in that cafeteria together. Is it possible for you guys to enjoy a meal together in the closest way possible? Maybe, and speaking to Jack's point about gratitude, send a thank you card to somebody that you've been really meaning to show appreciation for. One thing that we do in my community, in my little neighborhood, is we take chalk and we write positive messages on people's sidewalks, on people's driveways as we walk by, letting them know that they aren't forgotten. Whenever we say that motto, where do you go to school, Del Barton, how do you say that? We never ever say it by ourselves, right? We always say together, right? And in the spirit of togetherness, I'd encourage you that when you start to feel disengaged or disconnected, or notice that you're starting to opt out of connecting with other individuals, now is as good a time as any to re-engage. There are a couple of things coming up where we can reconnect with our brothers. One in particular, Rohan mentioned earlier, that in-person blood drive, where you're actually going to get to see the guys that you were in school with. And there's also, the students are putting together a video compilation of things that they've been doing while they've been at home, right? Another form of being connected and participating in our community. That's it for me. I'll turn this over to Matt Castellano.
Thanks, Dr. Durso. Hey guys, I hope everyone is all and well. And before I lead us in prayer, I just want to start off by introducing something that was just a little exercise, but has now become something much more meaningful and something that I value and look forward to every class with Miss Loveday. So before each Christian Lifestyles class, Miss Loveday will go around the room and ask each student to say a high point and a low point since the previous session during quarantine. So some students would hope for the virus spread to slow down. Some would offer prayers to the doctors working countless hours, and others would simply say that they miss their friends. For myself, this simple exercise has really put me in a place where I began to think about how grateful I was and still am for God keeping myself and my family safe. And it sparked this newfound love for introspective thinking on myself personally and my relationships with others, and most importantly, my relationship with God. So just like Liam and Leo said on the Wave of Faith Schoology page, the little things do go a long way, and here right now is a perfect opportunity to take a few minutes just to connect with God that maybe you didn't see as a possibility before. I encourage every single one of you to think about the things that they're grateful for and to have a conversation with God. Tell him how you are feeling, what's on your mind, what's important to you, etc. I hope everyone is able to keep a calm and positive mindset for the next few weeks and to remember that everyone is in this together as a community. So I'd like to close in prayer In the name of the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, please give the doctors and patients the strength to combat this virus. Help those who are affected the most so they can power through the physical and emotional complications. Let them find peace in their hearts and know that you are always with them. In the words that our Savior taught us, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I wish everyone the best going forward, and thanks. Now I'm sending it back to Father Michael.
Unmute. There we go. Okay, so as I've done in the past, just want to show you the thing I'm always happiest to show, which is the progress on the Learning Commons. So you can see the footprint of the building is now very clear. They're pouring concrete even as we speak. So the building is moving along very nicely. It's on schedule. It's not ahead of schedule. So we still anticipate that it will be finished roughly at the end of the 2020-2021 school year. So now it's time for questions. A couple questions have come in already. One asks, will there be a process about how to open up Delbarton to students, about staggering times, taking temperatures, wearing masks? We're going to take our cue from what the state public health authorities and the county public health authorities tell us will be the best way to reopen school if that's going to happen this year. All along, we have relied on guidance from our public health authorities to determine what's the best way for us to operate. And we're going to be doing that still if we are enabled to open up again, even for only the last couple weeks of school, and possibly even for our regularly scheduled graduation. Another question is, are there going to be extra review sessions for AP classes? Your AP teachers are free to schedule review sessions now. None of the AP class material has been new for quite a while because the College Board indicated where the new material was supposed to stop. So in a sense, what's happening right now in your AP classes should be review. But if you're looking for extra review times, you should speak to your teacher, and hopefully you can arrange either an individual review, maybe small group, like during office hours, or an actual full class extra review session as we get closer to AP exams. One person asks, how do we know if we got into AP classes next year? We're in the process of reviewing student course placement. Maybe Dr. Dursok, if you could jump in. I don't remember exactly what the timetable is, so I don't want to speak out of turn.
Those will be released by next week.
Okay, great. So we're still in the process of doing that, and we'll let you know next week. You are always welcome. If you need to get something, you can just, the school is open. The security guards are here. I'm here. A couple of the secretaries are here. Mr. Rubling and Mr. Hartle are here on alternating days. So there's a skeleton crew of folks who are here. So if you need to get something, anytime between 8:30 and 2:30, you're welcome to come. So you don't have to call ahead. Just come, ring the doorbell. The security guard or one of us will let you in, and you can come and get what you need. So another question is, the College Board has announced that they'll have an SAT every month of the calendar year next year. Does that mean that Delbarton will not hold one in school? We'll just have to see what the College Board's going to do. Perhaps they will let us do both, and having one in school, even though there may be one a few days later, having one in school has definite advantages. A, it doesn't take up a Saturday. B, it's at Delbarton, not at a strange school that you're not familiar with. And C, it's only with our students. So there are lots of advantages to help you score better and perform better on the test that come from taking the test here on those school day administrations. So we are likely going to do that again, but we just don't know what that time frame will look like or when those opportunities will be. But if it's available, we will. One person asks, since Sage dining and transportation are no longer provided, will part of the tuition be compensated? The short answer is no. Our contracts with both Sage and with our bus companies are for the year, not for the month. So they don't, our bus companies, for example, don't reduce their charge. We asked about that, but unfortunately that's not an option. We are still providing the regular service that we're providing in terms of instruction, and we want to be able to keep everybody employed. So it would not be financially prudent for us to refund tuition, in particular because with Sage, there's no separate charge. It's not like we charge you separately for lunch. It's all bundled into tuition. So unfortunately, there's no mechanism to do that, and it would not be fiscally prudent for us to do that, to make sure that all of our faculty and staff remain employed and ready to receive you back when we start school again. One of our moms asks about fishing. Yes, if you come on campus and practice social distancing, you can go fishing. So that's perfectly fine. Another question about the June ACT. No, we don't know what the ACT is going to do in June. The College Board has canceled their administration. As soon as we find out, you'll find out. You probably could just check yourself on the ACT's webpage. I would imagine that's the best way to find out on a day-to-day basis. But again, as soon as we find out anything, we share it with you either through the weekly e-news or through Schoology. So another question, like if we go back to school, how will we approach that situation? I think it's really important. That's a great question. Like, we're not just going to start school on Monday and pretend that nothing ever happened. We probably will have a school gathering, perhaps a massive Thanksgiving or something like that, that we are able to be back. We want to get you back into a routine, but we also can't pretend that this extraordinary experience didn't happen. We need to reflect on it, process it, and if school can reopen this year, we will work on our end to come up with a way for us to kind of celebrate our return, to recognize folks in our community who've done extraordinary things to help others during this time, and get us all back into a framework of being able to be back in person together. So we haven't figured out what that would look like yet, but if we can come back to school, it will not just simply be, okay, Monday morning, business as usual. We need to transition into this and recognize that something really traumatic has happened, but also a lot of good has come from it as well. One other question, why are we not getting grades this midterm? We thought it was more important to focus on comments as indicators of progress rather than grades. Midterm grades are not grades of record, so there's really no need per se to have letter or number grades. The comments we thought were more important for you to get a sense of what your progress is overall. I'm assuming that as you're getting graded assignments, that your teachers are communicating your grades with you, so you can certainly keep track of your own grades. But for now, given all the demands on teachers as well as on students, we thought it was most appropriate to simply focus on comments, on a narrative sense of progress. You have your own records of your grades, and in addition, the grades will be given at the end of the term, which is now, just to give you a sense of perspective, we are now 6.5 weeks away from the end of the school year for underclassmen. So we do not have much time left, even if we were back in school. So we want you to focus on being healthy, being productive, being successful, as our speakers have talked about today, and not get hung up on the details that would be more relevant if we were together in a normal situation. So our morning meetings are recorded. So one person asked about posting Jack's words of encouragement, which I thought were particularly helpful. And we will have those available as a video link, and you can watch them again however you wish. Your teachers can give you your grade. Yes, your teachers should be able to give you your grade at any time. Like as teachers are recording assignments, giving grades, your teachers should have a sense of where you stand. So if you're not keeping your own records, you can certainly ask your teacher anytime, hey, where am I at the moment? That's a perfectly reasonable request. Teachers should be able to do that without too much problem. And then some last questions that came up last night. Let's see. Yearbooks will be produced on time. How we get them to you, we don't know yet. We're going to work on that. We'll probably have a day where you can come pick them up if we're not in school. If we are in school, we will distribute them to you. Summer session. So a lot of you have asked about summer session, which are all great questions. Many Delbarton students take advanced math in particular, but do take other classes as well. We intend to have a full summer school. Whether we can have summer camp for the younger kids, where a lot of you guys do work, we're not sure yet. Depends on what the governor tells us. But whether we do it in person or online or a combination of the two, we are going to have a full summer school this year. In fact, this could be an opportunity for us to try doing distance learning through summer school, so that if your family goes to the shore or goes somewhere else during the summer, that you could still take a course at Delbarton and, for example, advance in math. So we are going to offer some additional courses and see if there's enough interest to run them, particularly in the humanities, for some of you who might want a refresher or a brush up, or, you know, I'm really not sure, I'm ready to advance in math, to go to calculus, I want to take my math course again. We're going to give you a full menu of options. If you go to the school webpage and look on the top corner, it says summer, and you click on that, you can see what our summer offerings are. And Mr. Thompson, who's the head of the summer school, is working with his team to develop a really robust, expanded range of offerings. And whether we do them in person, online, or both, depending on what we're allowed to do, you're going to have an opportunity to use your summer to sharpen your skills, to progress in math, or to simply kind of retool yourself so that you're really ready to hit the ground running in the fall. 8th grade graduation and the Washington trip, it's unlikely that the 8th grade trip will happen, at least in its current form. The 8th grade moving up ceremony will happen if and when the regular graduation can happen. So it may not be able to happen. We're going to try to do that as best we can, but our first priority is commencement for seniors, and then we will try to do the 8th grade one in some form as best we can. Maybe it'll be in a different form, but not the one we're normally doing. And then lastly, one student asked how I'm doing, which is really nice to say, so thank you, as well as how Ben the dog is doing. Ben's great. He just misses all of you, but he loves running around the garden now that the weather's getting better. To be honest, it is a challenge for me sometimes to be positive. I miss you all greatly. I miss the faculty and staff greatly. It can be a little lonely here sometimes. Some of the monks are sick, so there's a little bit of, there's anxiety and some fear in the monastic community, but we are sustained by our daily prayer and by our support for one another and by our prayer for you. And so we're doing our best. I'm doing my best to stay positive. I'm doing a number of the things that Jack talked about. I'm now doing my 5-mile run like every day, so I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't been this fit in a long time. I come to school every day, even though I may not have a whole lot to do at the desk. But most importantly, I want to be here for you. And that sense of coming to school and being here for you, even if there's not a lot to do day to day, that really is a big support, along with our prayer life and our community life here in the monastic community. So like all of you, you have good days and not so good days, but our faith in God, my faith in God, my faith in our mission, and my intense desire to see us get that mission back up and running the way we've known it, that's really what helps me get through those darker moments. So I appreciate your asking. And with that, it's now almost 9:15, so it's time for you all to go to class. So have a great day to everybody, and stay safe, and we will see you next week. Take care. God bless everybody.